The Crooked Fork. A long time ago, there was a small house in the wood, and in this house there lived a step-aunt, two boys, and her niece. The step-aunt seemed very ornery and wicked, and her boys were sneaky and mean. The young girl was sweet, obedient, and kind. Every day the girl had a specific chore to do Monday through Sunday. The girl's aunt wasn't pleasant with her niece and consistently created unusual chores for the young girl.
You must go to the woods and dig me some peat.
The peat was for fuel that was used for cooking meals. This was one of the specific chores that she expected her niece to do, while her son sat around and did nothing. The mean aunt handed her a crooked fork.
Take this fork and dig enough moss for our supper.
The aunt handed her a crooked fork to dig for the moss. The ornery woman was aware that this task would take a while for the unskilled girl to complete. The family really didn't need the peat moss because they had enough fuel to cook with each day. But that wicked aunt never wanted to share her food with the girl. She preferred to have it for herself and her two sons. Whenever the young girl dug up the moss and returned home, there was no food left for her to eat. This went on for several days until a tiny elf appeared. He lived in and out of the small green and tall bushes. The elf observed the little girl each day trying to dig up the peat with the crooked fork. She did this every day, whenever it was sunny, rainy, or windy. The elf felt sorry for her and decided to magically change the fork into a special shovel that would dig up the peat quickly, but also dig up herbs and vegetables. The little girl was unaware that the elf was helping her. When she had stopped digging with the shovel, the elf turned it back into the crooked fork. Now she was able to complete her chore and arrive home early and sit down to eat with the family. That day, when she arrived early, the stubborn aunts and cousins had to grudgingly share their supper. The mean aunt was furious and wondered how her niece was able to come home early with the moss, herbs, and vegetables when she was given a crooked fork. She assumed someone had helped her, but who? That weekend, she sent her sons to follow the young girl. In the deep woods, the boys watched how a tiny elf had magically changed the fork into a shovel and noticed their cousin digging up the moss, herbs, and vegetables in just a few minutes. As soon as the girl went back home, the boys tried to grab the elf. But the elf suddenly changed the boys into small, crooked-looking stones. Once the girl had arrived, the aunt had to share the already cooked meal with her niece. But where were her boys? The next day, the aunt followed the girl into the woods and watched behind a tree. She saw the elf magically change that crooked fork into a shovel and how rapidly the young girl was able to collect the peat, herbs, and vegetables. When the girl was finished and went home, the aunt tried to capture the elf, but she was unsuccessful, and the elf turned her into a large stone statue. The young girl, the young, sweet, kind girl, returned home and noticed that nobody was in the house. So she sat down and ate her supper. Would you believe she never had to worry about her ungrateful family demanding her to dig up the peat with a crooked fork or not sharing their food with her? Because there was always a nice fire burning with a large black pot for cooking those herbs and vegetables she had dug up for a very long time. The end.